Now it's time to get the inside scoop on all the electricity going on in Mississippi Thunder Speedway. It's time for Thunder Talk with Dan Bailey, brought to you by Jailhouse Saloon. Now, here's your host, Dan Bailey.
Another week, another edition of Thunder Talk. I'm Dan Bailey. Thank you all very much for tuning in once again as we get ready for more green flag action this weekend at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Now, you may have noticed I used a different term there. I didn't say this Friday night, I said this weekend because we've got a lot of racing action headed your direction. Of course, this Friday night, we will have a full program of the dirt track stock car racing that you love at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. All 7 weekly divisions going to be battling during the Bateman Law Special, including $1,000 to win for the B-Mods and $1,000 to win for the USRA Hobby Stocks. But I said weekend because we have more than just Friday night for us to enjoy. Saturday, it's the second annual Flat Track Motorcycle Spectacular. And this year, we've amped it up a little bit. 2 complete shows, a district border battle between AMA District 23, which is the state of Minnesota, and AMA District 16, which is the state of Wisconsin. Last time we had a border battle event, over 200 riders registered in, and that's just for the amateur program, which starts at noon. Later on Saturday evening, 7 o'clock, we've got our Outlaw Pro event, including high-powered Pro Singles 450 DTX bikes, some 80s singles racers, and the Grand National Hooligan Super Series. It's all happening this Saturday at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. And joining us this week on Thunder Talk to get us ready for Saturday's motorcycle show is the defending champion of this dirt track event at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, Jake Mataya. Jake, first of all, welcome to this week's edition of Thunder Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Last year was the first ever dirt track motorcycle event at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. And right off the bat, I want you to look back to last year when you first pulled in the facility. What were your first thoughts that first time you saw Mississippi Thunder Speedway?
Yeah, that was my first time there, and right when I walked up to the track, my first thought was, this looks like a national track. It was something that you could tell the track, the crew, looks like they really know what they're doing when they're setting that track up, and looks fast. I like the high banking now. The dirt is awesome, and just got real excited to put some laps down.
You know, it's a bit of a misnomer because the folks call it flat track motorcycle racing, and of course, that's what it really is. That's the basis of it. You go to a lot of the mile tracks, like Springfield, etc. They're flat tracks, but Mississippi Thunder Speedway throws a whole lot of banking at you professional riders, and you guys were using all of it last year, turning in some amazing lap times. Was it faster than you expected, or as fast as you thought it would be?
Yeah, I think it was definitely faster than I expected, and if I remember right, I showed up in more motocross gear for the first practice session. I was like, yeah, this track is way faster than I thought, so I had to put my leathers on for the next session and stayed in leathers the rest of the night, just because the track is so fast. It's got high banking and can carry a lot of momentum around the outside, which just allows for a lot of great racing, great passing. It's not follow the leaders, so you can choose multiple lines, go inside, outside, and yeah, it's just an awesome place.
You guys were able to benefit from a stock car show the night before last year, and when it came time to turn your pro motorcycles and throw them at the high banks, you guys had about an 80-foot groove. It almost looked like it was never ending, as you just mentioned. Some of you guys racing down at the bottom, some of you racing through the middle, some of you racing way up at the top. Based on last year's event, where do you think is the sweet spot? Is it right down at the bottom? Is it rim riding up around the hay bales, or is it somewhere in the middle?
It's hard to say without being there right now, but I think it all depends on where the rest of the riders are riding, and if there's a groove that forms out towards the bottom, that could be quick, but if there's moisture up top, you can carry some momentum around the outside and make some passes, so it's hard to say, but I just like the fact that there's options instead of just being at a one-line track, and you have some options to go high or low.
One of the things that you mentioned when I asked you about the first time you rolled into the Speedway last year was that it reminded you of a nationals track, and you bring with you a lot of experience, not only running district pro events here in the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, but you do have the experience of hitting some of those national events as well. Do you feel like that brings with you some speed that makes you a force to be reckoned with this Saturday night?
Yeah, I think so. I've definitely put in a lot of time on tracks like that. AMA does a good job also of getting the right tracks and doing the right track prep. So I probably have a good 12, 13 years of experience, so I think it's going to be beneficial for me to show up and feel comfortable right away as we get started there.
I probably should have done this when I first introduced you, but let's give the folks who are listening a little background about who is this Jake Mataya that not only won last year's MTS Outlaw Special, but has enjoyed a lot of success, not only locally, regionally, but nationally. Give us a little bit of the background.
Yeah, so my dad actually got me into racing when I was about 5 years old, and I started out in a little PW50, and we were just hitting the local tracks in Minnesota, Cambridge, and New Ulm. There's all kinds of them. And every year, it seems like we were progressing and getting faster and faster, and getting more support from more people that wanted to help. And before I knew it, I was turning pro and had a good sponsorship from Donnie Harley-Davidson, and started traveling a lot and going to nationals. And ended up kind of surprising myself because I didn't have a ton of help at the races, so I kind of was figuring things out myself and kind of got tossed to the Lions, but I was able to figure things out and make main events and be competitive every weekend. And things turned out pretty good, made some good results, and had a lot of fun. Just waiting to possibly get a good twins ride next year.
For folks who are listening who may not be regular followers of motorcycle dirt track racing, they may not quite understand the terminology when you and I toss around a term like the Nationals or being a national rider. It's very similar to your Major League Baseball, your professional stock car racers who travel the nation and are able to do it for a living. But this really is the upper echelon of motorcycle racing. When you get to some of those national events, are you still able to enjoy the weekend, or is it much more of a cutthroat kind of a feeling? Very serious, really battling these guys on and off the track?
I just have a really good time with it now. I think when I was younger, I had a lot more pressure that I put on myself just to prove myself, to show people that I was fast enough to run with those the top guys. And after that, I just started relaxing a little bit more and having more fun with it. Yeah, the Nationals, that's as high as it gets, and actually got to the point where I got invited to X-Games. I raced actually in my hometown in Minneapolis. That was an awesome experience, and a lot of publicity in flat track right now, and I like the direction that it's going.
You did mention one thing that is very important, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about stock cars or race boats or motorcycles in this instance, and that is those individuals who are supporting your efforts. Who is on board Mataya Racing for 2019?
The biggest support I have is Go Moto, which is my dad's motorcycle dealership right in Minneapolis. Of course, he's kind of started this whole thing, so he's been helping me out along the way. And I got Bell helmets and Motor X. Motion Pro has been helping me. They've been backing me for a long time. Small program this year, but next year I think we're going to be hitting some more races and picking up some more sponsors.
As you've mentioned a couple times, you come from a racing family. Your brother Nick also enjoying success, winning the most recent, I believe it was, Super Hooligan Championship Series event. You had mentioned that he may not be able to make it this Saturday, but offered to lend you that bike. Do you think you're going to pull a double duty this Saturday?
Yeah, I'm definitely contemplating it. I haven't rode a Harley for a while, so I appreciate the offer. So I might take him up on it, go out and have some fun on the old hog.
Well, Jake, we appreciate you spending some time chatting with us this week on Thunder Talk. We will be looking for you in that number 29 450 Honda this Saturday at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway Motorcycle Dirt Track event. High banks, high speeds, high excitement. We appreciate you chatting with us this week. Best of luck come Saturday.
Cool, thanks. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Dan.
As I said, Jake Mataya is going to be hitting the high banks this Saturday at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Amateur program with riders ranging, I'm not making this up, in ages from 5 to 75. We'll be hitting the high banks and even the little Lightning Speedway at noon. And then the big Outlaw Pro experience will get started at 7 o'clock with Jake running his pro single, maybe his brother's Super Hooligan, and also some 80s singles racing. An entire day of two-wheel activity Saturday the 27th at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Hey, for those of you listening on the radio, don't forget you can find the entire interview that Jake and myself enjoyed at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out.
Come on down to the Jailhouse Saloon. Yeah, come on down to the Jailhouse Saloon.
The Jailhouse Saloon is where everyone wants to do time. Come on in and nab up some of the best homemade pizza around. The Jailhouse has happy hour weekdays from 2 until 6, free pool on Mondays, and lunch every day at a great price.
The Jailhouse Saloon where everyone wants to do time.